Joining us now on the River Islands guest line, Brian Baldinger, presented by our proud partner, Golden State, serving the Bay Area for 3 generations. Building better starts with Golden State. When you succeed, we succeed. Visit GoldenStateLumber.com. Baldy's got the cutoff Texas Tech shirt. He means business. He's showing the guns this morning. We already know he can hit the splits on national television. We know that for a fact. We know he knows all the ownership groups and every player in every organization. But I got to ask you this, Baldi, as we say good morning to you. A wild card weekend was saved by the Commanders and the Buccaneers game. Of course, the Rams did their thing last night. But after watching Sam Darnold the last 2 weeks, watching Sam Darnold, would you still possibly flip him for Brock Purdy if you're the 49ers?
Well, I mean, the only reason why I said that a couple weeks ago, Bonke, was we were talking about, do you want to give Brock Purdy $60 million or top 5 money, or is there another option?
Yep.
And at the time, Sam Darnold was 14-2 or 13-2, and he was throwing 35 touchdown passes. He looked like a good option at that point. Now he's been terrible these last 2 games, no question, like awful. And if you just spaced everything off 2 games, you wouldn't even have a phone call. Mm-hmm. But he's had 5 clunkers this year, 5 that look like the last 2 weeks. But he's also won 14 games. They do have a 14-4 record. Now you can say, all right, they beat up on the Bears, whoever. But he did throw 35 touchdown passes this year, and they did win 14 games. So I get all the fans that want to blast me. I understand. I'm fine.
Yeah.
But the conversation was really about money.
Right.
Because if you do pay Brock, and I've talked to Jed about, they've got the kitty ready to go write the check to be top 5. But if you do that, and I think they probably will do that, some of the people that you know as 49ers are not going to be a part of this organization. Mm. You're just not going to be able. So it's a question of, is there a cheaper option? And that's all this conversation was.
Right.
Is there a cheaper option out there where you could keep some of your star players? Because literally, under the John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan era, they've basically been able to keep every single star player at every position, whether it's Kittle, Warner, Bosa. They've been able to keep every star player. Juice, for this whole Debo, all these guys, they've been able to keep them. But when you pay the quarterback, a lot of that changes. And that's really all I was trying to say.
Yep.
At that time, that's all I'm saying now, is it worth exploring another option? And I'm not running Brock Purdy out of the organization or chasing him away, because Lord knows we all love him. But they did finish in the cellar. They were 6-11. They were 1-5 in their division. The Rams are moving on. So you look at this and you go, is it a Super Bowl hangover? Is it an aberration? Was it the crazy offseason with the holdouts? Or is there more issues at stake here? And those are questions that I'm sure John Lynch, Kyle, everybody's asking inside that organization right now.
You kind of threw it in there. You said you talked to Jed York?
Weeks ago.
So break this down. You walked up to him. He walked up to you. Was it on the field? Where was this?
This was before the Kansas City game.
Oh, yeah.
Out there in San Francisco, whatever week that was, Joe.
Okay.
So he came up to me. Jed came up to me. I was talking to different guys, and he was just telling me that his son watches my breakdowns, and they watch them together. He teaches them the game, whatever. So we got into Brock. I mean, Brady was doing the game, so there's Tom Brady right there, the goat of all goats. And there's Brock Purdy in the contract year. And, he just basically said, we know. Well, and at that point, Brock was playing very, very well. The team was playing pretty well at that point, I believe. I might have to go back and look at where they were this season. But, he basically said, we're prepared. I think that might have been his actual word. We're prepared to pump me up and pay Brock. Right? So I just figured, okay, Brock Purdy's going to be a part of this thing. But, for 2 out of 3 years, he hasn't finished the season. There's some injury concerns there. There's a little bit of instability there at that position for the first time because it's a contract year. And you're not on that rookie, 7th-round pick contract anymore. There is a little bit of uncertainty that surrounds the position.
Let me ask you about Darnold from what we saw the last 2 weeks, because I'm with you there. Jed York He's already said he's going to reset the market with Brock Purdy, and what he told you before the Kansas City game, all signs point to Brock Purdy being a quarterback for the Niners in 2025. But what about Sam Darnold now? The decision Minnesota has to make. He's a captain of the team. As you mentioned, he threw 35 touchdowns. They have J.J. McCarthy, their first-round pick, who's going to be healthy next season and compete for that starting job. What's next for Darnold? Should he be a starter in this league? Has he played well enough to be a starter on a good team in this league?
You can't deny 14 wins and 35 touchdown passes. You can't deny the success that he's had. Like I said, he's had 5 clunkers, including these last 2 that everybody watched. But I remember talking to the general manager before the Atlanta game, probably like week 14. And he said, we're not in any rush to make any decision. Let's play it out. Well, play it out as bad as you can play it out. So I don't know what Minnesota is going to do, because obviously they drafted a quarterback to be the starter and to be the future. And the season ended unceremoniously. I don't know what they're going to do now. If they're going to make Sam, my guess is they're going to let Sam go test the market. That's my guess. Let him go test the market, and then give the Vikings a chance to match anything that he gets out there if they so desire to do it. And that sort of takes Minnesota a little bit off the hook. I mean, Sam wants to be there. I know that. He likes it there. But if you let Sam go test the market, let him go talk to the Giants or whoever it is, 49ers, whoever might be interested, they can kind of figure out what the market is by what teams offer. Maybe he takes a little bit of a haircut to come back and then compete for the job with McCarthy. I don't know, but that's my guess right now, is they're going to let Sam go test the market and then give the Vikings the opportunity to match them.
Well, they also have the franchise tag in their back pocket, which they could conceivably use, $41 million guaranteed. There's a lot that goes into it. When you see Darnold and all these quarterbacks, I'm watching just 49er fans react to the other quarterback play and comparing and contrasting it to Brock Purdy. Do you feel better about Brock after seeing this weekend of football games? Does it not change your opinion whatsoever? Is it more about evaluating him from the regular season? Where do you shake down when you see Niner fans? Look at quarterback X stinks. I'm taking Brock over him. Where do you shake down on those types of comps and contrasts?
Well, I mean, you got 8 quarterbacks left. You got 2 guys that were taken with the first pick, right? Stafford and Goff. You've got 2 guys that were the second pick in the draft, and CJ and Jaden. They both played outstanding on Sunday, right? We know what Stafford has been. We know what Goff can do. And then you're looking at MVP-level players like Mahomes and Lamar. You're not going to put Brock in that category with those players. You're not going to put him in the category of Josh Allen. You're just not. Physically, you're just not going to do that. But can he be there with Jalen Hurts? Can he be there with some of these other quarterbacks, Baker and some of these, yes. Herbert. Put him right there. Herbert, you can put him right there. Now, Herbert has his worst day as a pro. Right? Now, is that because of the pass rush? Like, he just played awful outside of throwing the ball to McConkey. After having, threw more receptions in one game than 2 all season combined. It's just like, but is that playoff football? Is that can you mentally make that jump and play at that level when you got to play your best? Jaden Daniels was unflappable. Yep. Like, nothing can disturb that guy. And his athleticism is elite. So, look, we have talked about Brock in this category of quarterbacks that we're talking about right now in the divisional round. He's got to be healthy. The team around him has got to be really good. And, you need a full off season with all your compliments. If you get that, I believe he can play. He could be back in the divisional round. But there's a lot of things that have to get fixed around him. Very few of these guys. You saw Stafford struggling early this year without Nakua and Cooper Kupp and a banged-up offensive line. He wasn't good. The Rams weren't good. So all these, outside of maybe Mahomes, but even Mahomes was struggling. Until they fixed the left tackle position, he was struggling. The offense was struggling. They were winning, but they weren't winning because of Mahomes. So Lamar looks a whole lot better this year with Derrick Henry in the lineup than he ever did. So it's not just, you can't just put the quarterback in a vacuum and say, Here's $60 million, go win us a championship. Like, every one of these guys needs a lot of help.
Baldi here on the River Islands guest line on Monroe here on 95.7 The Game. Overall, looking at these playoff teams in the NFC, we'll stick on the NFC here. You got the Commanders going on to take the Lions Saturday night in Motown. The 3-1-3 is going to be rocking. You get a heavyweight bout between the L.A. Rams and Philadelphia. We know what Saquon did to the Rams earlier this season. But looking at the 49ers, I know they're 6-11, but should Niner fans feel better about where they are as a team? Because looking at the NFC teams, there wasn't a lot of impressive play. Now it's the playoffs. Green Bay looked a little soft, fumbling on the first play of the game. Jalen looked a little off, but I'm willing to give him a doubt. Should Niner fans feel better? How far away do you think the Niners are from contending with these teams that are left in the NFC?
Well, I thought the weakness of the 49ers team this year was the defensive line. Now, you can't look at the Rams and look at Jared Verse and Braden Fisk and Kobe Turner and Byron Young and say the 49ers are in better position. Those are young kids that just get better and better and better. Like, they were dominant last night. Now, Minnesota's offensive line is an average group. All right, it's not Philadelphia's. Those guys didn't do anything against the Eagles, back in week 11. But going forward, you feel a whole lot better about those young players and who they drafted and their player development up front. The 49ers have not been able to draft and develop defensive linemen. They just haven't. Like, you got to go find Malik Collins. You got to go get Chase, Young. They haven't been able to. I know they drafted Drake Jackson, some of these guys. They're not there. So they have missed a lot on the defense front, and they put a lot of resources into their defensive line. And I thought it was the weakness of the team. And one of the reasons why they were, the 27th, 29th ranked defense in football, and how, they only took the ball away 17 times. The Rams, the 49ers were minus 10 in turnover ratio. The second most important stat in football, the Rams were plus 6. I feel like, now, they might have to eventually fix the quarterback. They might have to move on from Stafford, but it doesn't look like there's any slowing him down right now. He's still playing at a very good level. So, I don't know. They were able to keep one running back, Kyron Williams, healthy all year. The Niners went through 4. Like, I don't know why that is. Maybe it's just the aberration. But I feel like the Rams are in a better place right now. We know the coaching is outstanding. And then the young players, rookie center looks really good to me. The receivers, all drafted, late, Cooper, Nakua, all really good. The running back drafted, they drafted better than the 49ers.
Yeah, this was their first year that they've had a first-round pick in the McVay era. The highest pick they've had, 19 for Verse this year. On McVay, multiple times they played the Vikings, and their offense did really well against Brian Flores. What is it about his offense that is having success against someone like Brian Flores, who Shanahan was really stymied against?
Well, if you noticed last night, Stafford had 26 pass attempts last night. 11 of them he was under center. They're a heavy play-action pass team. All right, now, you can catch these guys like you saw Sam Darnold, play action, here comes the safety blitz, blows the play up, changes the game. They're a heavy play-action team with under center. They don't get too far away from the running game. And then Stafford made elite throws against sticky man coverage. Higbee on the opening drive. They're man-free. They're blitzing. The throw beats great coverage. You couldn't put your American Express black card between the defender and Tyler Higbee, and the ball's perfectly thrown. So, those are just some of the things. And they didn't turn the ball over. The Vikings have lived off turnovers all year. They led the league in interceptions, but the quarterback takes care of the football. Mm-hmm. So, they didn't feed into Flores' system.
Before we get into this week's divisional round, because I can't wait for these games. Ravens, Bills, and Buffalo, 3:30 or 6:30 Eastern, snow flurries at Orchard Park. Oh, my gosh. Inject all that into my veins. But watching these Golden Four quarterbacks, so watching Mahomes and Allen, or Burrow, who didn't make the playoffs, and Lamar Jackson, where would you place this group of quarterbacks, this elite group of quarterbacks, compared to some of the best that you've seen in the 80s with Elway, Montana, Marino, 90s, Kelly, Warren Moon, Brett Favre, Steve Young, Troy Aikman. Then you got the OOs with Brady, Rivers, Manning, Roethlisberger, Drew Brees, Eli. I mean, you got a who's who. Where does this group stack up, Baldy, in your opinion?
Well, it starts with Mahomes. So all the names you just mentioned, Mahomes is as good, if not better, outside of Brady, than all of them, whether it's Aikman or Marino or Brees or Manning. Like, he's as good as any of them. All he does is win. All right, so 4 Super Bowls in his 8 years. Lamar Jackson is maybe the most talented guy we've ever seen play the position. And that's not to undermine anybody else, but his abilities, what he did, I mean, it's just amazing. Pittsburgh played Baltimore 3 times in 8 weeks. They had no answer for the 300 yards rushing. No answer. Like, they acted like they hadn't seen read option and how to defend this offense. But a lot of that is Lamar and what he's able to do. Josh Allen is as talented a player at that position as we've seen. His playmaking ability, his size. If it's 3rd down, he can run you over. If it's 4th down, he can run you over. Like, his ability to keep the offense on the field is extraordinary. So Jared Goff's the first pick in the draft. They've got the number 1 offense in football. They score on everybody. I guess it's good. And you want to add, we always want great young quarterbacks. So we don't know what Jaden or CJ are going to be 5 years from now. But when you watch them, the eye test is these guys are great players. Jaden is unflappable. He's a great, great player. Nothing disturbs that guy. Nothing breaks that guy's concentration. It's amazing. Like, all the guys you just mentioned. Yeah. You think about orchestration of offense. He's in shotgun almost every single play. He runs the whole offense as a rookie. The whole offense. Gets everybody lined up, motion shifts, all right, snap count. Like, you saw Baker, like, he's struggling with the snap count, the handoff there to McMillan, ball's on the ground, changes the game. Like, those mistakes aren't being made by a guy that's running the whole thing at the line of scrimmage. Like, so to say, okay, the 80s, I mean, it's easy for me to reflect back on all those players you mentioned, the 90s, but this is a good group, a really good group.
You know, Baldy, it's funny you reference like all the whatever read option, RPO, whatever term you want to call all that stuff. As I'm looking at the Niners defensive coordinator, and it's open, you know, up in the air. And
we want Wink.
And as I'm looking at all these players in the draft, like, I truly believe with Jalen Hurts, with Jaden Daniels, with even Caleb to a lesser degree, Josh Allen, Lamar. If you cannot have the instincts on that RPO play as one of my defensive linemen, my outside linebackers, you know, like, you're off my board. And I think, like, Bosa's really struggled at that. And, like, where does he crash on the running back? Does he crash on the quarterback? What kind of defensive coordinator, as you're looking at all this new wave of quarterbacks, what should they be looking for right now? Because I've really haven't heard a lot on the D coordinator front.
It's a great question, Joe. So it's interesting. T.J. Watt did not get in the stat page against that game. Right? He was going up against a rookie right tackle and Roger Rosengarten. Right? He did not like. And so what he did on all those read options, tackle the back. Every time he tackled the back, like, that was his job. Go tackle Henry. He did it every time, and there goes Lamar out the back door. And they had somebody either blocking the safety or the linebacker was out of spot. You know, like Patrick Queen, whatever was out of place. Both safeties are jumping out to stop Lamar, and there goes Derrick Henry, 44 yards for a touchdown. Like, the Steelers didn't have an answer. So Wake is out there. Wake just, helped Michigan beat Ohio State. I think, like, I have as much respect for Wake as a defense coordinator. If you look at the Giants this year, last year they tied for the league with 31 takeaways. This year, the Giants, with the new DC, had 15. If you ask me what I want from my defensive coordinator, give me takeaways. Give me extra at-bats for my offense. I might give up more yards. I might give up some plays down the field. But if I'm shortening the game, if I'm taking the ball away 30 or more times, like, that's the guy I want running my defense. Like, it's going to make everybody better. You're going to break down protections. That's the first thing Wink does. I'm not here to blast Sorensen or anybody else. But, like, you got to break protections down. You got to get Nick free one-on-ones. You got to get Nick a free run to the quarterback because of scheme, because of all right, here we are in the A-gaps. Let's screw up the protection. Let's send somebody free to the quarterback. I remember, I'll give you one quick story. I remember the Giants were playing the Jets in preseason last year. So I asked Wink what the game plan was going to be. And he goes, I'm going to blitz Rodgers. Because we played him midway through the season, and I just want to see his answer to blitz zero. In preseason, like he was already thinking 8 weeks ahead when he was playing Aaron Rodgers in the game. I just want to see what Rodgers' answer is to my blitz zero. I'm going to get it in preseason, and I'm going to file it and hold it to when we play him in the regular season. I don't know. You know, the guy, I don't know. The 49ers look awfully predictable with the defensive front. After Hargrave got hurt, the injuries, that wasn't very talented.
Wow. I would love Wink and Arumo. We'll see what happens with D coordinator. All right, these games real quick before we let you go. I don't know if you're working any. I know you were at the Hulu Bowl last week. I don't know if you're working any games this weekend, but we got Texans, Chiefs. You got Lions and Commanders, Ravens, Bills, Eagles, Rams. What are your four teams going to the conference championships, Baldy? What do you got?
Well, I like Kansas City.
Yep.
They've had their rest. They figured out the left tackle position. They're healthy on defense. They're built for this time of the year. Houston defensive front gave Justin Herbert a great deal of trouble. Mahomes has much better feel when that happens. I like Detroit just because their offense is just so good and has been so good. And I believe that they're going to be tough to stop. I believe they'll score 30 on Washington or more. I like the Eagles. They put up over 500 yards of offense. You know, the last time they played the Rams hit the short stick in this whole thing. Yep. They played last night on the road. Now they got to turn around and come to Philly. Like, this is a tough turnaround. Now, they play inspired football, very inspired. They played fast. They outplayed the Vikings all the way. But I feel like Philadelphia is better in the trenches than the Rams. And then you go to Buffalo, you know, on Sunday night, the marquee game of this whole weekend. And Buffalo had no answer for Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson in the last game. I mean, Derrick Henry went 80-plus yards on the opening play of the game last time. Baltimore never looked back. I think their pass rush has just gotten better and better and better. I like Baltimore to go into Buffalo and win this game.
Woo! Love that pick. I lean that way, too. But we'll see. It's tough to win in Buffalo, but I do like Lamar. This might be his time. Baldy. Cannot wait for divisional round. They say, I got these guys. Hold on, I got to give Shasky some trouble here. I got Shasky, another producer, talking about the number one weekend in sports all year long is Masters weekend. And I'm thinking to myself, over Super Wild Card weekend? Over divisional round playoff games? Conference championships? Who are these guys, Baldy? You're in the cutoff right now, showing the guns with Texas Tech on your chest. Are you kidding me?
Look, if they hit a hole-in-one every day during the Masters, it couldn't come close to divisional playoff round football. Like, it just can't. Like, we got through 5 duds, this weekend. We had one good game. I don't believe that's going to be the case this week.
No, I don't either. Plus, college football is awesome as well. Ohio State, Notre Dame.
Irish.
Okay, Ohio State was, what a defense. Caleb Downs, oh my God, so let you come out.
I'm riding Ryan Leonard in this one.
I love Jeremiah Love. There's so many players on Notre Dame that I love. We'll talk about it later. Baldy, you're the best. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, guys. Yep, you bet. Take care.
All right, Baldy.